Welcome to another Friday edition of the Our Lads Football Network. That's right. I'm sure everybody's pretty stoked for the weekend. And I know it's only June 5th to be precise, the first Friday in June. A lot of mini camps going to be taking place soon. OTAs are in active activity as we speak. And then there'll be a little bit of a lull before training camp begins. But we're here now every Friday, as I've mentioned, all week long and all last week. We've got our Friday new format for the next 7 weeks. We're going to be taking a look at one division in the NFL, and we welcome in just for these shows, we're partnering with another channel, ProLine TV, more on the handicapping side of the industry. Definitely handicapping the NFL and college football. I do work over there. And this gentleman right here, Jim Feist, who's a legend in the industry, is a co-owner of the channel as well. And Andy Isco will be joining us in just a couple of seconds. Jim, good to see you again.
Well, thank you, Greg. Good to see you as well. It is, we're talking about June and we're talking football. And I'm excited about football. I wish it was here. No, 96 days to kickoff. Did you know that?
That sounds close enough to me.
But, we all follow other sports. And hockey's been amazing, and basketball's been amazing. And it's in golf. We're talking about golf a little bit just now off channel. And golf is weird now because we're getting a lot of players winning that we don't know who they are, but they will be known if they keep doing it. And so it's really, they talk about the summer being kind of an off time. So I don't know who takes off because I'm working hard.
Yeah, well, again, that's the thing. I mean, I just had my first interview with a Vanderbilt writer, somebody who does podcasting, is covering the Commodores for over 20 years. And it's the first time I've been able to talk to someone about Vanderbilt football. And that's happening more and more often on my show because I've never done 5 days a week of football coverage during the summer. We haven't even hit the summer yet. And this opens up the door for many more opportunities to speak to a wide variety of, especially college football analysts. And that not only is great for content and for the viewers, for everybody, including myself, to be educated more. But it also shows you when you talk to these people that there are so many teams in college football today, especially that are going to be sleepers, if you want to call them. They're being disrespected because of the portal. Nobody understands exactly what's going on in June. And I think because of that, I think if you pay attention, you can get a really good advantage if you get a head start on everybody else.
Well, it's hard to get a head start on every sport, but you're in a unique situation because Our Lads is such a quality publication that you start with the draft and then, of course, you jump into the free agency. And then, of course, you're picking up stuff in the colleges that most of us don't see. I mean, did anybody pick Indiana to win last year?
No. No. And the thing was, it was basically because the bottom line was it had never happened before. It's that simple. It had never happened before, even though we saw an improvement from them the previous year. And you could tell that they were going to be more competitive. It was just, we had to get that out of our mindset. And that's the thing. I think that certain people who don't get it out of their mindset, certain people who are still maybe, oh, that was just 1 year. Or, well, that's because Cignetti's a genius, whatever excuse they might want to give that. I just think that's fine. If you want to go down that road, you're going to be left behind. Because again, I just think there are so many opportunities, and I've already spoken to a few. Arizona State, the Vanderbilt situation, again, they're going to be better than people think. Once again, can you believe this, that the Vanderbilt Commodores just recruited the #1 overall recruit in the country at quarterback?
Really?
So they are going to be starting a true freshman at quarterback who was the #1 recruit in the country. And that's the effect of the portal. And it's the effect that, especially because these kids, now he does come from Tennessee, but in the past, that would have been almost like, well, I know too much about Vanderbilt football and none of it's good. I ain't going to that school. But that's just not the case anymore.
Why did he choose? Do you have any idea why he would choose Vanderbilt?
It was basically, again, you've got that hometown kind of deal, and now it's more understanding that, wait a second, I see something happening here. I see that they're actually building something here, and I want to be a part of it. I'm from the area, and instead, because he was going to go to Georgia, that was the typical thing a top recruit would do, would go to Georgia, and he completely changed at the last minute and said, "No, I'm going to go to Vanderbilt." And you know what? If he would have went to Georgia, he would have sat on the bench all year. Instead, he's going out there and he's starting for his hometown team.
Right.
So, Andy, you there? Can you hear us?
I see him.
I can hear you fine. There's apparently an issue with my camera.
That's
and
okay.
I'm not going to try messing with it right now. It was working fine last night when I did a podcast.
We can hear you, Andy, very well.
Yeah.
So
That's
we
fine.
can see you eating too. So that's okay.
Well, that was many years ago, but I still remember the dinner.
Okay.
And the dessert.
I hope so.
Andy always has a good line for the show. That's for sure.
Oh, you ought to see what I was talking with a friend tonight or earlier today from Chicago who is not too thrilled with the apparent move for the new stadium to Hammond, Indiana for the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, I'm hearing that story, and that's like it's just from the outsider's point of view. It does seem like it's like I don't think they're going to Chicago. I think they are going to Indiana. Is that
that's
the case?
What they voted down the stadium proposal today. So
yeah.
I was looking for new nicknames: the Hammond Hellraisers, the Hammond Hyenas, the Hammond Hijackers, Hammond Hootenanny, Hammond Bear. The one that I like is the Hammond Bear Nappers instead of Kidnappers. They're the Bad Nappers. And then as a tribute to Al Capone, you could do the Hammond Hitmen or the Hammond Cement Bags or the Hammond Silencers. I'm all set.
Andy, you're on a roll.
All right, so let's turn our attention to the NFL and specifically the AFC North. Big story this week in the NFL came from the AFC North and the NFC West with the Browns and the Rams making the big trade. It's unbelievable, but when we talk about the Rams, of course, we'll talk about Myles Garrett and how that affects them, and we know what the deal is there. But for the Browns, they wind up getting a good young player and, good collateral as far as the draft is concerned. I actually think it's a win-win for both organizations. I honestly, to tell you the truth, don't think it's going to affect the Browns as much as people think.
They're gonna go through the whole season without a win anyway. So you can't.
Yeah, they were going to finish last anyway, but at least they're positioning themselves nicely for the future with what they got in return. I mean, I always liked Verse. I loved him as in his 2 years with the.
Look at it. They don't have a quarterback. No. They got a brand new coach. They don't have a quarterback. What are you going to do?
And I think, Greg, next year is supposed to be a very good year for quarterbacks. Arch Manning, of course, is the one that we all know about. DJ Moore, I think, is the other one coming out, I think, Oregon. So, the Browns may get a chance to get a legitimate franchise quarterback next year if they do indeed finish with the worst record. And I can't believe, I think their total was 6.5, and it only went down to 5.5 after the trade was announced.
I don't think they win 3 games.
Yeah, I
find it hard on their schedule. I find it very hard to find 3.
Well, again, this is why we do these shows. Look, I spoke to Fred Greetham last week of the OBR, and I'm going to speak with Fred again on Wednesday night because I spoke to him before the Myles Garrett trade. So I said, Fred, I got to get you back just for 10 or 15 minutes. We have to talk about the trade. So he's coming back on Wednesday night. We'll do that 8 o'clock on the All-Lads Football Network. So, but one of the things we talked about is that they have really hit massive home runs in the last 2 draft cycles. And there is really, if you look at the depth chart right now, it's really just one thing that's holding this team back from being respectable, and that's the quarterback position. There's a lot of talent on this team. There's a lot of young talent on this team. It's just that, they just have to put it all together. They've got to get this coaching staff. And I think even though, Stefanski's a solid coach, and we talked about him last week, I just think he needed a fresh start. They need a fresh voice. And the big deal this training camp, this mini camp, is going to be, and really has been, Deshaun Watson and his return not only to health, but competing for the number one role with Shedeur Sanders, which I believe he's going to win as long as he's healthy. And then the question is, do you get Deshaun Watson from a couple of years ago when he looked like crap? Or is it possible that Deshaun Watson, who's still not old, he's not an old player, can you get Deshaun Watson back to the player he was before the injury? And if you do, then maybe you got something.
That was 5 years ago when he played well. I mean,
you're absolutely right.
I can't see how you can roll it back and get that same guy. He's played bad for 5 years, if at all. If he played at all, he played.
Well, that's the thing. He hasn't played, and then he had his one chance to play, and it was a disaster. But there's got to be a reason for that, and I guess we'll find out in camp.
Well,
again, that's why having a new voice, especially an
Deshaun
offensive
Watson
guy,
will be 30 in September,
and that is not young. I mean, not old.
No, but body-wise and playing time, that's almost like 27, considering all the time that he's missed.
Yeah, he's Baker's age.
Bumps and bruises that he hasn't taken.
Yeah, but what kind of shape is he in?
That's what we don't know. Yeah. We don't know how well he took care of himself.
I'm not talking about shape and lifting weights or jogging. I'm talking about football shape.
Sure.
And it's a whole difference.
Yeah.
It's
a wild card. But again, I mean, look, you guys hit it right at the start. It's all about next year's draft anyway. Yeah. Shedeur Sanders is not the future. So they've got to find a quarterback in next year's draft. And if they do, then look out, because I don't think any team in the NFL had better back-to-back drafts than the Cleveland Browns. And that's how you build. That's how you build the foundation of success. And they're doing it. It's just that you got to see it on the field for anybody to really be convinced.
And actually, for them, it works a little bit well, because if you look at their division rivals, the Ravens, the Bengals, and the Steelers are all aging teams.
Well, I can argue with this. I think Cincinnati, with Burrow and a great offensive set of.
Yeah, they're the best team in that division right now. And
yeah, definitely.
They do have a nice future.
And you have, and they're the only team with a coach that was there last year.
Yeah.
All of the others change, and then
another advantage.
Goes along, and then you got to look at the offensive and defensive coordinators. You got everything's got to mesh. These other teams, and you got the old guy that doesn't want to get hit anymore, and Rodgers. And I mean, I don't know. Without getting significant injuries, I think Cincinnati runs away with this division, honestly.
Cincinnati could conceivably, considering the competition in some of the other divisions, it's three. You got the Patriots and the Bills in the East. You got the Jaguars and Texans in the South. You've got the Broncos, Chargers, and Chiefs in the West. Cincinnati could end up with the number one seed in the AFC.
Very possible.
Well, let's take a look at the division. We'll go through alphabetically, and as you can see there, those are the current odds, give or take. Ravens are the favorite. Bengals are now down to 2-1 to win the division. Steelers at 5-1, and the Browns at 21-1.
Why are the Ravens favored?
I don't know. I think it's just Lamar Jackson. I don't know what to tell you. I agree.
And what has he done? Pray tell. In the
lately,
playoffs especially.
Lately, he hasn't done a whole lot, but he did win.
And how has he ever done in a playoff game?
Yeah.
Well, this is a division, though.
And they lose Harbaugh. And
yes, they do.
It's backwards. The Bengals are the favorite.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Well, that's why you got to take advantage of it. And
again, I already have.
Yeah. Great. I mean, we talked about that when the trade was made. Remember, they were 35-1 to win the Super Bowl. They're now down to 20-1 to win the Super Bowl.
Talk about the Bengals.
The Bengals.
Where are the Ravens to win the Super Bowl?
The Ravens are at 10-1 to win the Super Bowl.
Well, let's talk division. What's the odds to win the division?
So the Ravens are -115. And that's
plus 194 on the Bengals, almost 2-1.
And you've got a new head coach, as you mentioned. You've got
with no previous head coaching experience, also.
No, and Declan Doyle's the offensive coordinator. He comes over from Chicago. He's a Ben Johnson disciple. And Anthony Weaver returns to the organization, the former Miami Dolphin defensive coordinator. And he was with Baltimore when things were a little bit better for them defensively. Because
I'm going to say this, folks, if you can bet it, go out today and bet the Bengals to win this division. Absent injuries, there is no way they will not win this division.
Yep, 100%.
Especially because they address,
first of
they
all,
address
you
their
have
most, they address their biggest need with defense.
You might have the best quarterback in football. That's number one. You do have some great receivers. Your offense is great. The defense has to step up. It was a mess a year ago. They did some things. Maybe they're better.
Yep.
But everybody else in the division's bullshit. Cleveland's not going to win it. Pittsburgh's not going to win it. Baltimore's the only question.
No, let's go through it again. I'm trying to go through this one team by team.
Baltimore still has playoff talent on that team.
Well, of course they do, but they've had it there for a long time.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's sometimes where a coach, is tuned out, and that's what that may be a positive. The problem that I have with the Ravens is getting an inexperienced coach with a very experienced and playoff caliber roster.
Yeah, you know what was interesting was one of their players, it was Zay Flowers, excuse me, and he said the other day, it might have been, I don't know, might have been just before OTAs or something, but he said that he went to the coach, Jesse Minter, the head coach, and he asked him, it was basically the conversation was, I hope you're not going to beat us up during camp like Harbaugh did. That was basically the conversation. And Minter said, well, that's not going to be the case. I've looked at that. We're going to kind of lessen things here and there. Instead of telling the kid what he should have been told, in the old days, we all know what would have happened in that conversation. But this is the new NFL. This is the new.
I'd like to see him say that to Lombardi.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
And so this is why I have a problem right there with this team, is because I think you've got these players. I think I don't think. Look, we all were very not necessarily dismissive, but we were definitely critical of Harbaugh with the way things went for him at times late in his career there, losing big leads and losing big games. And maybe that wore on him. And see, they want to look at it as that's the reason why we lost those big games. That's the reason why we lost in the playoffs, because we practiced too hard.
Keep in mind, for many years, Harbaugh loved winning preseason games, and maybe he shouldn't have placed as much emphasis as apparently he did, because he won 17, 18 in a row or something, and maybe that takes its toll at the end of the season, especially since in a number of those years were when they had 4 preseason games, not the 3 we have now. So maybe the player who made that comment had something like that in mind, that, hey, let's save more of our energy for late in the season rather than in the preseason. Let's just take a look at the purpose of preseason is to settle on your roster, not to win games.
Well, the only thing is as we know, you get these players and they're used to dealing with a hard-nosed coach, and then the hard-nosed coach leaves with a lot of success, and the inexperienced coach, who's more of a player's coach, comes, and 9 times out of 10, that does not work out. I mean, that kind of change, it's almost like they think it's going to be better. We're not going to practice as much, or we're going to do things differently. But Harbaugh was a very successful coach for a reason. And I
wonder what the record is. I don't know if anyone's going to analyze it, but maybe they have. What is the record of first-year head coaches coming into the league who have, let's say, immediate success if it's their first NFL head coaching job? I would imagine it's probably a fairly small percentage, unless you're a guy like Barry Switzer, who comes in and takes over a defending Super Bowl champion with the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, I think a franchise like Baltimore would fit closer to what you're saying there, Andy, where he would have a much better chance to succeed the way Harbaugh left the organization. as opposed to, oh, I'm taking over the New York Jets.
No.
You know, I mean, so you would expect that things would be a lot easier for Minter. And he was here. He was a coach here. He knows how the things are done. And that's the key when you take a look at the team and their issues the last few years was the defensive side of the ball. And so that's where he comes from. And I think that's going to be, you know, the one big asset that will help Baltimore this year. Their defense should improve. Trey Hendrickson comes in, you know, one of the top edge rushers in free agency. So that's a big deal. They also spent their second-round draft pick on an edge rusher in Zion Young. And on the offensive side, their first-round draft pick was the best guard in the draft, and that was something Baltimore really hurt themselves with the last couple of years. Inconsistent play at the guard position.
And they lost their center.
And that's a big issue. They lost Linderbaum. And that is that they have not replaced him. Right now, the players that are penciled in to replace him are not, you know, starting caliber quality centers. So that is definitely something. I'm going to be talking to Tony Lombardi of the Russell Street Report on the Ravens in a couple of weeks, and we'll definitely find out more about that position, and training camp is going to be huge. So that is definitely something to keep an eye on. But Lamar Jackson returns, and Derrick Henry returns, and for the most part, their receivers return. They even added 2 draft picks, relatively high draft picks at wide receiver, in Surratt and Lane. You know, they know what they're doing as a front office. They usually draft well, so they have pretty good personnel. But I just think, you know, when you're going from Harbaugh to Minter, I don't know. I'm not really sold that Baltimore is necessarily going to be for the better, at least in 2026.
Derrick Henry is 32. So that's towards the beginning the descent.
Yeah, that guy is.
I don't know about him, but he's
a freak of nature.
Yeah.
Let's see how he does with a somewhat revamped offensive line.
All right, so there's Baltimore. Let's now move on from Baltimore to Cincinnati. And again, we're all hot on the Bengals. They made the big move of the offseason when they landed Dexter Lawrence. Not just because they landed Lawrence, but because they did something that the Bengals have basically never done, and that is trade a first-round draft pick for a player. That they don't do that. It's not talk; it's fact. But it shows
I think that's because they realize that their window is like right now. They're in that situation where this division is theirs for the taking, and there seems to be a little bit of a change in the power structure in the AFC. If you take a look at what New England did, and Buffalo continued to disappoint. We saw the Chiefs last year. I think the Bengals realize that they have a year or two window. Let's get the players that we can do now and work about the replenishing draft choices after we've had a couple of seasons of making deep runs in the playoffs.
And I think Burrow has put enough, you know, fire under them too. He pretty much has been unhappy. They haven't been doing enough. And I think he lit a fire under them and they did something.
Well, not only did they add in Dexter Lawrence, they also added Boy Mafe, because remember, Hendrickson is now with the Ravens. So Mafe is a really good addition from the Super Bowl Seahawks. And maybe just as big as addition was Brian Cook. Maybe the top safety in the free agency market from the Kansas City Chiefs comes over to that secondary. And that secondary has been a big issue for a few years, not just talent, but injuries. But last year, the last, I think, 8 games of the season, both Dax Hill and DJ Turner, a couple of high draft picks, were both healthy for the first time together in a while, and both played their best football. And now they add Brian Cook. So that secondary is now looking pretty good, combined with the fact that they also let 2 rookie draft picks last year at linebacker play the entire season. And they struggled, you know, it's a typical rookie season, but the hope is that they learned on the job and they're going to be that much better this year in their second season. So, and they also used up their first pick in the draft in the second round on another edge rusher, Cassius Howell. Yep. So there's a lot to like with the improvement of that defense overall. And then on offense.
Yeah, interestingly, by the way, the Ravens season win total, and I'm surprised that it's this high, 11.5. Bengals are 9.5.
That's well. I mean, I'd have to look at the rest of their schedule.
They are evidently at 11.5. They're considering the Ravens to be, and this is from Circa. They considering the Ravens to be strong Super Bowl contenders. When you consider they're 11.5, you've got the Rams at 11.5, you've got the Seahawks at 10.5, Lions at 10.5, 49ers at 10.5, the Bills also, and the Chiefs and Eagles at 10.5. So they are tied with the Rams. I mean, according to season win totals, it doesn't really count for anything other than some sort of idea forecast. Rams-Ravens Super Bowl based upon those teams having the highest win totals, one in each conference.
We'd have to analyze the out of division games they play to see if that has any validity.
Well, there it is. There's the Ravens win total. I'll bring in the schedule so you can see what it looks like.
I know is that neither the Rams nor the Ravens play a first place schedule because the Rams tied with the 49ers at 12-5 in the West, and the Ravens lost out to Pittsburgh in the North, so they play a second place schedule. And if you take a look, a lot of the second place schedules this year are not all that bad compared to last year.
Well, here's their schedule, and they really have a nice early season schedule.
Who is this?
The Ravens.
Okay.
So the Ravens, they'll be playing both Tennessee and New Orleans in the first 4 weeks.
Well,
and they're also going to be playing Atlanta and Cleveland.
New Orleans is a team that is expected to do well in the NFC South, but the Ravens are getting them at home. The game that I'd be a little concerned about is the following week, the game at Dallas. That could be their most difficult game until they meet Cincinnati in Week 7.
Well, either way, you're talking about under 500, under 500, under 500, under 500. 4 of the first 6 games were against teams that were under 500 last year. So that's not a very difficult way to start the schedule, but then it gets tough. Then when it starts with Cincinnati in Week 7, you've got the Bengals, the Bills, the Jags, the Chargers, the division-winning Panthers, the Texans.
Well, keep in mind, division-winning Panthers, but another below 500 team, 8-9.
Sure. Tampa Bay.
But it is on the road.
Tampa Bay, Pittsburgh on the road. And then they do get the Browns in Week 16, but then back with the Bengals and the Steelers. So really, they have to get off to a good start. Well,
I think you'd have to say how good are the Colts going to be? Because if they start off with a loser, it's a road game. If they go to the Colts and can't win,
we don't know about Daniel Jones. Remember, what were they, like 8-1 last year before Jones got injured?
That's the thing, and it looks like there's a good possibility he's going to start Week 1, but we don't know. Yeah.
So, winning at Dallas is not going to be a bargain. Dallas looks like a pretty good team this year.
Yeah. I'm likely to be on Dallas in that game if it's a reasonable price. I like the Cowboys this year.
So they've got the.
But I like the Bengals as well, but it's on the road.
So they have the NFC South as one of the 4 divisions they have to play,
and the AFC South also.
So they have the AFC South, the NFC South, and then the 3 teams that they add in there. Again, they get, let's see, who do they get in as the 3? They get let's see, who do they get? The Bills,
Chargers, I think.
The Chargers,
and is it Tampa? No,
let's see, who is it? The Bills, the Chargers.
And it has to be an NFC team.
Interesting. Why can't I figure this out?
Or we're looking at the
Carolina, Tampa Bay.
Tampa?
Oh, there's got to be another NFC team in there.
Wow, look at this. They end their last 4 games of the season against division teams. Steelers, Browns, Bengals, Steelers.
Yeah. Go back up a little bit.
That would be interesting if the teams are any good, you know.
Oh, Cowboys.
Dallas. Yeah, Dallas is the 17th game.
So Cowboys, Bills, and Chargers. Those are pretty tough, matchups for those 3 as those opponents.
Well, they get the Bills on the road. Where do they play the Chargers? Chargers are at home, and they get Dallas on the road.
So that's the Ravens. I'll pop up the schedule for the Bengals before we move on. to your favorite team, the Browns. So let's get in here.
Cleveland Browns they're always optimistic, their fans. So whenever they look at the standings, they always look at them upside down. They turn the newspaper upside down.
Very nice. Okay, so here are the Bengals.
Andy, you're on a roll. You got some good lines today.
And the Bengals, they're going to have a tough start to the schedule, their first 4 games. So this is
playoff team before they hit Miami, and then an early bye.
Yeah. And then they have a little bit of a reprieve after the bye and the Raven game. They got a nice little stretch here between Tennessee with Atlanta, Washington.
Pittsburgh is the only playoff team they play for close to 2 months until they play Carolina. I think Carolina is the next playoff team that they play after Pittsburgh. So I think that's 2 games out of like 6 or 7 that follow that Baltimore game after the bye. That's when they should pick up steam if they haven't already.
So there you go. That's the schedule for Cincinnati. And let's see, their teams, they're going to play. Let's see, who they got. Miami. That's one of the 3.
Yeah.
Who else do they got? Washington. That's another one.
Right.
And Kansas City. So they got Kansas City, a tough one, but then they get two good ones. They got the Washington Commanders.
Well, they do get Kansas City
Miami.
at home.
So Kansas City's probably the biggest mystery in the NFL. We don't know what they're going to be.
A lot of people have concerns about the decimated secondary from last year that they lost in the offseason.
And the Achilles that,
Yeah, Mahomes. Although I would not bet against Mahomes not starting week 1. Guy is just special.
Starting but being effective and mobile is an issue.
All right. Now we talk about the Cleveland Browns. And we kind of already touched up on them a little bit. But again, you take a look at the Browns and what they've done.
Why do we have to talk about them?
Because there's just as many Browns fans out there watching as Bengals fans and Ravens fans.
Funny thing is, I do a podcast with another guy who has a really, really respected website, especially when it comes to evaluating college talent and all that. But he's a big NFL guy, and we go through all these teams. And actually, last week, and this is before the Garrett trade, we had done the AFC North. I came up with 3 wins for Cleveland. He came up with 4.5. And the way we did it is we went down the schedule week by week, and we could either give a team a win, a loss, or a toss-up. So a win was worth 1 win, and a toss-up was worth half a win. So I think I actually only gave the Browns 2 wins, and I think I gave them 2 toss-ups, and everything else was a loss.
Well, again, see, the thing with Cleveland, and they're going to be, and this is why the NFL is so fun, because there's always going to be teams that are going to do things that we never expect. And some teams you'll look at and you go, yeah, but I don't see it, especially if they've got a rookie quarterback and not a lot of talent. All right, well, they're going to have struggle. But the Browns, because yes, Miles Garrett is gone, but they still have good players on defense and good players on offense. So I just think this is going to be one of those teams that it's all going to depend on what do we see,
quarterback
especially
play
in training camp and preseason, from Deshaun Watson.
How many games did they win last year?
I don't know. What was it?
I don't remember.
3, probably
3 or 4.
Well, how can we say they're going to do better?
I just gave you the reason. Deshaun Watson. He's the only way. The only way.
This is a 5-year-old.
You have a rookie head coach.
Played a good football game.
But it's sort of like, I mean, if you look at, say, Geno Smith, I'm going to give you an example. So Geno Smith did not play for 5 years. He just sat on a bench. And then he came out, got an opportunity with Seattle, and played pretty well. So that's what you got to hope. Again, he's only 29, 30 years old. So he's not a 35-year-old, or 40-year-old Joe Flacco. Look, the odds are against him. We all know that. But we just can't say for definitive sake that, oh, no, because if he was that bad, then he wouldn't be in a battle right now with Shedeur Sanders.
Except for the big contract.
The only reason he's there is because they have to pay him all this money.
Yeah. No, the money thing is gone. You don't have to worry about the money thing anymore. It doesn't cripple their salary cap anymore. It's over. It's history.
No, but it's still money being spent on the most important position on the team.
Yeah, but money is not dictating whether Deshaun Watson starts for them.
Didn't Stefanski have an issue with the owner in Cleveland, and that's why Stefanski's no longer there, because the owner wanted to win, and Stefanski should have asked for a contract extension if they were going to start, the quarterback last year or this year.
Who's that?
No, I'm saying that Stefanski wasn't he told who he had to play last year? Shedeur?
No. The owner is not a Budinsky.
No, I'm saying he shouldn't be, but I believe he was last year.
That
created some of the friction.
No, that's just bad rumors. No.
Okay.
Fred told me none of that is true.
Fake news.
Yeah. Fred says that the owner he had the one time that he actually, and look, at the time when he gave Watson the money, we all thought it was crazy money, but nobody thought Watson wasn't a good player. Nobody. He was a star in the NFL.
The guy had 27 charges against him for inappropriate behavior in scripted.
I know that. I'm just
saying. Nobody, and then he guaranteed the money, for God's sake, the entire amount.
Yeah. But I was just saying, that's the one thing he did. He went in, he says, I want this guy, get him, pay him.
Well,
that's it. He's never since then.
Did he also draft Johnny Manziel, who was a drunk?
No. He's not one of those. He's not Jerry Jones. He does not run his team that way.
Okay.
Jerry Jones at least knows football.
Yeah,
and business.
That's why he stays out of it, except for the Deshaun Watson thing. He's made one terrible decision. That's it. He does not get involved with the team. So anyway, again, that's it. There's if Deshaun Watson can come out and actually do something, then but if not, Cleveland's the over/under right now is at what is it?
I still saw 6.5, but I think it's down to 5.5 at a lot of places. I picked one up at Circa this morning, but it was as of June 2nd, which was I think the morning of the day where it was announced officially. And I thought I saw an adjustment 5.5 somewhere.
Well, this 5.5 here is minus 160, and the 6.5 is plus 130.
Yeah, the under 6.5 is minus 160. The over 5.5 is minus 160. So probably the right number is 6, but everybody uses half games now.
I'd take under 5.5 plus 130. I think that's a good bet.
I would, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if I thought Shedeur Sanders was going to start, or if I see preseason games and Deshaun Watson doesn't look any better, I think, I can't see them winning more than 5 games.
Let's also talk about Stefanski. I always thought Stefanski was a pretty damn good coach.
I think it was 2 out of 6. 2 out of 6 seasons in making the playoffs, and I think he had that one big win that one year down in Houston when Houston was a division champion.
Do we replace him? Do we know how do we feel about the replacement? Is he equal to Stefanski?
You don't know. It's his first time head coaching. Where was he the Baltimore offensive coordinator, Greg?
Yeah, he was there for 3 years with the Ravens, and so apparently he's not going to run this team the same way he ran the Ravens. He played more multiple tight end packages with the Ravens.
Who's the offensive coordinator that he brought in?
Monken?
Yeah.
Let's see. Monken's, where is it? Here it is. Monken's OC is Switzer. Yeah, Switzer doesn't have like a whole lot of experience, but this is Monken's offense anyway.
Yeah.
And this is the biggest worry for me is that Rutenberg is taking over for Schwartz because
it's a tough guy to replace.
Yeah,
there's no way I can.
Defense.
I have to downgrade this team from last year just based on those changes.
Well, the thing is, we don't know because they weren't very good, and that's the problem. So it's kind of hard to. And like I said, there's a lot of talent on this team, so you do have to say that. Now, maybe it wasn't Stefanski, and maybe it wasn't Schwartz, but it's not just 2 coaches that run a team, as we know. There's like 10 or 12 coaches out there, and apparently those guys did not do a good job of developing talent. And that's why there's a coaching change.
Maybe the talent wasn't that good to begin with, and maybe it's more of a scouting problem.
That's my second. My second free play is Cleveland under 5.5 plus 130.
I'm with you on that. I might even give a little bit of a look if I do a little bit more work, maybe even the under 4.5 at plus 220.
Well, we'll go over. I'm going to go over all that officially and when we're done, and I'll write them all down. Let's now move on to Pittsburgh as the Steelers get Aaron Rodgers back. Mike McCarthy reunion with Aaron Rodgers. Last go around for Rodgers. And the additions to the team from last year are definitely significant in a few parts. They're a much better. They have a much better wide receiver room. Pittman. They added Jermaine Bernard in the second round. They made a trade for the Colts with Michael Pittman, and they also added two young players in the draft on the offensive line. So they're going to be a better offensive team. It'll be the second year for Rodgers.
That could be an issue with how much the rookies play in their first year on the offensive line with a guy like Rodgers.
Well, the problem is they may not have a chance. Well, the good thing is at least Dylan Cook, who was penciled in ahead of the first round draft pick, he does deserve the opportunity. He's played well. He's a veteran, not really somebody that has had a chance to get this spot before. So we'll give him the benefit of the doubt if he holds off the rookie. And then the other spot would definitely be here at right guard. This kid here, the third round pick, potentially taking this spot. But one rookie on the offensive line is probably enough for Aaron Rodgers. So I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
In the running game, they added Rico Dowdle. Don't forget what Rico Dowdle did last year for Carolina for the first 5 or 6 weeks of the season.
Yes.
And he'll partner now with Jaylen Warren in the backfield. And then on defense, as you can see here, most of their players are going to return, but they did add a couple of players back here in the secondary. Jamel Dean is a solid top corner, and they added good safety.
When did they get rid of Fitzpatrick? Was that
that was a couple of years ago?
Okay. That's when he went to Miami, and I think he's with the Jets now, isn't he?
Yeah, he went. I think he was Miami only like a year and a half, something like that. And they added a few other players overall, but for the most part, most of the additions are on offense. Defensively, Cam Hayward continues to play.
Hayward and Watt is a nice duo.
Yeah, Hayward still plays great. Watt, we know him. They need Porter to develop even more. They got good edge rushers: Herbig, Highsmith, Watt. Sawyer was a rookie last year. The defense are hoping Harmon will take a step up in his second year from a first-round draft pick. So there is a lot to be excited about as far as the defense being better, just from returning talent. And the question's going to be about whether some of these new players like Bernard and Pittman and Dowdle can really help the offense in year 2 of Aaron Rodgers. And Mike McCarthy, the guy can coach. We know that. So let's take a look at the Steelers with their.
That's why I kind of like Pittsburgh, although I have them third in the division. But I do like the Rodgers and McCarthy combination. And look, McCarthy, what was he in Dallas 5 years? Had 12 wins in 3 of the 5.
Yeah,
it is possible if Pittsburgh and Baltimore could flip 2-3 in this. Yeah. It's possible.
Yeah, I think the whole, again, the top 3 for sure. It is pretty up in the air. A lot can happen. And
injury-wise, a lot can happen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Especially with Rodgers.
And taking a look at the schedule for the Steelers, because the one thing we did notice with the Ravens and the Bengals was the Ravens had a much easier start to their season than the Bengals did. Now we'll see what Pittsburgh has. Pittsburgh's schedule here doesn't look too bad. There's a mixture of tough and not bad. Start with Atlanta. Couple of tough ones back to back. Didn't you send
something a couple of weeks ago about Pittsburgh having its way with Atlanta the last several meetings?
Oh yeah. I think I have it written down here. I think it's their home record against Atlanta. It's they're 7-0-1 all time hosting Atlanta.
That's straight up?
Straight up.
With the tie? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm sure it's straight up because the guy who does it, he wouldn't tell me anything regarding
he's not a bettor.
trends or nothing. No.
Okay.
So that's that. Oh, and they also play the Eagles on the road.
Yeah.
And I also had another trend there. Where is that? The trend for the Eagle one for the Steelers.
Wasn't that something with the home team?
That one is, let's see. Oh, they haven't won in Philly since 1965.
Yeah.
And,
it's a long time.
And then the Cleveland one is the Thursday
even though they
night
only
game.
play every 4 years, we're talking 60 years. So even once every 15 years, and even if that's half of that 8 times. But also remember, Pittsburgh was in the NFC until 1970. The NFL, which became the NFC. So they would have met more frequently for about 4 or 5 of those early years.
And you would think that this would be an easy one for for Pittsburgh getting Cleveland, but they are 0-4 all time at Cleveland on Thursday night football.
So and that's a Thursday night game.
That is some kind of there's some kind of rival. I mean, they're only 2 hours apart, and I know the Browns get really high for that game. It's they hate each other.
That's their natural rivalry.
Yes.
Whether it's the old Cleveland Browns now in Baltimore, but now it's the Cleveland Browns in Pittsburgh. So it's a natural regional rivalry. It's more.
Yes.
It's much more than, well, they're division rivals, obviously, but it's more than who cares about Eagles and Steelers. It's the Steelers and the Browns, and even the Ravens to a certain extent. I'll be interested to see what happens because remember, so much of Pittsburgh's success, never having a losing season under Tomlin. And you were talking, not 7 or 8 years. We're talking almost 20 years. What was there? 17, 18 years. I wonder how that factors into this year. Was it that Tomlin just got so much out of that nobody could have gotten any more out of the players than he did? Because there are some people who think McCarthy, and I happen to like McCarthy, but I know some people who think that Aaron Rodgers should have been to more than one Super Bowl when he was playing there.
Their 3 opponents are actually pretty tough outside of the 2 division opponents they're playing. The two divisions overall. They go to New England,
Philadelphia.
They go to Philly, and they also get Denver at home.
Yeah.
Well, Jacksonville's no.
And they're at Jacksonville. Yeah.
No, that's the South.
Yeah.
Oh.
So they play the AFC South, the NFC South, but the 3 teams the outlier teams are the Patriots, the Eagles, and the Broncos. That's pretty tough.
We might get a good idea in week 2, that game at New England.
Well, they beat them last year in New England in week 1. No, the Raiders beat them last year in week 1. So, that's the thing that is so funny every year about the NFL is that we're so psyched for football for so long. And week 1 comes around. And when week 1 is over, people exaggerate so much.
It's 1 week and we know nothing.
Week 1.
Yeah. Well, look, it was a couple of years before that where I think it was the Patriots who had a lousy year, pulled an upset in Cincinnati in week 1, knocked out a good amount of the survivor pool that year in week 1.
That's right. So it's happened probably back-to-back years.
And I think that New England got knocked out last year at home by
by Las Vegas
win. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess we got to watch out this year.
The big question. Well, of course, you got the coach issues there with his off-field issues, but New England last year played a real soft schedule, so we really don't know how good these guys are. They obviously didn't play very well in the Super Bowl, but and they got a lot of breaks against Houston, but it's really hard to tell how good they are.
Well, the thing with New England is that all 4 division winners last year in the AFC, who are number 1 seeds this year, none of those 4 teams had won the division before. You had Denver finally beating out Kansas City after many years. So Denver's a number 1 team that the Patriots play. Buffalo, of course, in their division was the division winner. You had Pittsburgh winning the division. I think Baltimore had won it for a few years in a row, Baltimore or Cincinnati. And then in the South, Houston had won it like 3 or 4 years, and it was Jacksonville last year. So New England plays a number 1 schedule, but it's against teams that were division winners last year for the first time in a while.
Right.
All right, let's go over this officially now. We're going to start.
By the way, other first-place teams in the other divisions are saying the same thing about New England, that New England was a first-place team last year after several poor years.
Correct.
All right, so we start with Pittsburgh. Let's start with the Steelers, and they're again at 8.5 on the win total. Jim, are you buying, selling? Are you doing any of these win totals or anything with Pittsburgh?
Oh, I think over 8.5 is at even money is not bad.
Yeah, the question is basically any team that's 8.5. It's very simple. Do you think they're going to be a winning team or a losing team?
Yeah,
right. I think they win 9 games.
Yeah, I agree with you. Well, Andy,
when I did this exercise last week, and again, the division that me and my friend Walter, we did the AFC South. We came up with a lot of similarities. This was one of the biggest differences. I came up with 8.5 wins for Pittsburgh. He came up with 4. He's really down on the Steelers, but
4?
He does not like McCarthy.
Come on now.
That's what he said.
Why? What does McCarthy has on his track record that would lead him to believe?
I think the fact that he's never had the kind of success that he should have had with the players he had around him in Green Bay. Made the playoffs, and that was pretty much it, except for the 1 year with Rodgers in the Super Bowl.
See, this is why players and coaches. This is why the media always says to when they're talking about players and coaches that have won 1 Super Bowl, you better win a second one.
Yeah.
Because this is the exact reason why. Because they hear people critical. Oh, they only won 1 Super Bowl.
And I came back at him and I said, yeah, but look what McCarthy did with Dallas. Okay, Dallas was not a great team, but they were good enough to get 12 wins 3 times in his time there. Once you get to the playoffs, anything can happen. Getting to the playoffs is when you win 12 games in a 17-game schedule and you make the playoffs, you're a good team. But you know what? So are the other teams that are in the playoffs.
I think McCarthy's a very good coach.
I agree.
I don't think he's a great coach. I think he's a very, very good coach.
Yeah.
And he should get some credit for Aaron Rodgers.
Absolutely.
So we have to give him credit for that. Aaron Rodgers, remember, slips in the draft. He's got this weird, funky style, the way he throws the football. And he wasn't this surefire draft pick. And he made him into a star. We're
going with 8.5 in this one, right?
Are you going over or under or not taking it?
No, I'm saying that the number we're using is 8.5 because that's the
correct.
one that is most evenly priced. I'm going over the 8.5.
Okay, so we're all going over 8.5 on the Steelers. Let's now move on to Cleveland, your favorite team.
Well,
and
you know my answer.
The Browns are sitting here at 6.5, 130, or if you want to go, you can go either over 5.5, 160, over 6.5, 130, or the unders here, whichever you want to do.
I'm taking well, I don't see there's no under 6.5, is there?
It's right here. Minus 160.
Jim, you and I both agreed on the under 5.5 at plus.
Yeah, let's go. I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna take the plus money under 5.5.
Under 5.
I don't even know how they win 3 games, honestly. But
no, I can't. Like I said last week, I came up with 2 wins. And I think one was in week 3. I don't know who Pittsburgh plays in week 3, and one was even in week 17.
5. Okay. Moving on. Let's go to Cincinnati. And let's take a look at the Bengals. All right. So the Bengals are sitting here at 10.5 plus 115, under 10.5 minus 140. It sounds like you guys, are we all going over?
I'm going over the 10.5.
I'm definitely over. I'm going to go over 10.5 and 11.5.
Love it.
I get the 210 and the 115.
Absolutely. Love it. And Andy, you've got over 10.5?
I've got over 10.5, and I'm contemplating the over 11.5.
And do you guys also interested in the Super Bowl division numbers?
Well, we took a look and we saw that Baltimore was minus 115. And,
Cincinnati's 2-1
plus 194. I like Cincinnati to win the division.
Yeah,
so
I'm definitely on Cincinnati win the division. Plus 194. Yeah.
And that's it. No Super Bowl.
That's too much.
What's the Super Bowl odds on them?
It's down to 20-1 now.
20-1 is worth a shot.
To get to the Super Bowl or win it?
Win the Super Bowl.
No, I can't do that.
Yeah.
The West.
I play a number of them, and it's usually based on teams that I expect to make the playoffs, should have at least a first-round home game in most cases. I think Cincinnati is going to be that good. I think 20-1. I don't think you'll see 20-1 by mid-October. It'll probably be down to
I agree.
15-1.
That's why I took him at 35 to 1.
Yep.
And when did you get Dallas at, Andy?
Andy talked me into it.
Andy, what did you get
I got Dallas
at?
at 35.
You got him at 35 as well.
35.
Okay.
I think they're down to about 20 to 22 right now.
Jim, you're going to go with the 20 to 1?
I'm going to follow Andy and you on this. Yeah.
Okay, 20 to 1 Super Bowl. All right, so buying all in.
And what I normally do when I have Super Bowl futures is I'll also play a small amount just for fun on the exacta. Crisscross my AFC teams with the NFC teams, but I'm talking usually maybe no more than 4 in each conference.
You're talking to play in the Super Bowl?
Well, I'll
meet each other.
Like Cincinnati over San Francisco,
Dallas.
San Francisco over Cincinnati, or well, in my case, Dallas. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm gonna have like
Dallas.
probably 3. It'll either be 3x3, 3x4, 4x3, or 4x4. So,
what is that?
4x4 would be 16 combinations.
Explain that to anybody who doesn't know what you're talking about.
They have the exactas at a lot of places. Circa started a few years ago. For example, and I picked it up today. If you like, let me see here. I'll just grab any team in mind if I can get the sheet open here. If you like, for example, Eagles defeat Bills in the Super Bowl, you can get 95 to 1. If you like Cowboys over the Bills, you can get 125 to 1. Let me see what you can get. If you like the Bills, I don't have that. That's on the other.
What about the Bengals and the Cowboys?
Cowboys over Bengals is 305 to 1. No, I'm sorry. That's Cowboys over Bengals, 305 to 1. And let's see, Bengals over Cowboys, 325 to 1.
Interesting. Okay. And
well, remember you got like 31 times 31 combinations or something like that.
So
what 16 times 16.
How much does it cost to play all that?
Any amount you want.
So when you say combinations, what do you mean by that?
It's like a horse racing exacta.
Okay, got it. You
Super Bowl winner,
take a couple
Super
of
Bowl
teams,
loser.
like 4 teams or something like that, and put them in a pool or something. Oh, you said 16 teams?
Well, no. If I did 4 in each conference over 4 in the other conference and reverse it, that's 16. In other words,
got it.
Let's say Cowboys over each team in the AFC East, Eagles over each team in the AFC East, et cetera, and then the reverse. So each team you would have 4. So I know that might be 32 combinations. Come to think.
And is that only at the casino?
More than 16, Andy.
What's that? I think it is 16. Yeah.
Is that only available at the casino?
No, it's available online, and I think more and more places. I think offshore they have it also. FanDuel and DraftKings.
Okay. Well, let me see. Where do you think it would be here?
Trouble is we can't play. We can't play.
It might be futures.
Fast futures. Whatever the hell that is.
Keep going to the right, and see if it says exactas. No, those are playoff player matchups. Team specials. See what team specials is. No. Okay, that's a different thing. Yeah, they're basically yeah.
Yeah, we can't play at those 2 places here.
Yeah,
because you're from the area.
Vegas, Nevada bans them.
No team. What's this? Oh, interesting. Okay. All right. So let's now wrap up with Baltimore. Let me get back to where we were. Here we go. Wins. And there we go. Baltimore. Okay. They're at 11.5, plus 115 over, minus 140 under. And there's some other options there. So what do you guys?
Yeah, it seems 11.5 is probably the common number. If you talk a minus 150 plus 125, minus 140 plus 115, that's a little bit of a more narrow spread. So 11.5 seems to be the number. I don't know that I could play that because I don't want to play the over the 11.5, or certainly not over the 10.5, and or over the 12.5. And
you doing anything, Jim?
No, I'm not doing anything in Baltimore.
Well, raise it up one more time. Go up higher. Let's take a shot at under 9.5, 220.
9-win team. That's
I like
not bad.
I like the price.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Plus 220.
Okay.
So that's 9 and 8. Yeah. I think that's where they were last year.
Yeah,
That's not bad.
I think that's worth it, Andy.
Yeah.
I would lean under and actually, what did we say? Oh, under 10.5 is plus 125.
Yeah, that's not bad either.
That's the one that I would play.
Under 10.5 plus 125.
That's simply a price play for me.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now let's rank them. Jim, we'll start with you. 1 through 4.
Definitely the Cleveland under 5.5 is the best play.
Or are you talking about the division rankings?
You want to go ahead and give? That's fine too. If you want to. No, I like the added. Give us your best one because we do have that. Give us your best win total.
Cleveland under 5.5 and Cincinnati to win the division are both equal plays. Great plays.
Okay, so Jim, your top two will be the 10.5 or the 11.5 Cincinnati. Which one do you go with? The top one.
I like Cincinnati to win the division.
That's the plus 194.
Okay, so we'll do that. That's one. And what's the other one? You
Cleveland under 5.5.
Under 5.5. Okay, that's 2. All right, so those are your top 2. What about you, Andy? What are your top?
Exactly the same.
Exactly
I've got Cincinnati winning the division, and I'm getting 2-1 on that. And I also, like I said, I had Cleveland winning 3 games last week, and I think the toss-ups were probably more considered losses than wins. But I had to find a couple of games where I thought Cleveland would be competitive. I still can come away with the possible wins.
And then now we rank the teams in order of where you think they're going to. Well, just basically, again, this is basically what you like the most.
How about you, Greg? Are you going to do any of the wagers?
Well, I'm like everything for me is Cincinnati.
Okay.
So I'm putting all of my chips into everything Bengals, and then Joe Burrow will be out in week 1.
I'm just going to give you a plus across the board on Cincinnati.
Yeah, pretty much.
Everything positive.
But the other one I really like is.
I think they have the wrong favorite at the books.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But the other one, if I had to go outside of Cincinnati, I'd probably go with the Steelers over 8.5. Okay. So let's go. Which team? Well, this is easy. Cincinnati's number 1 for all of us. Okay. So which team do you, again, buy, sell? Which team do you have the most or least faith in? Second, third, fourth, just overall. You don't have to be
Cleveland
picking.
4th.
Yeah, that seems pretty easy too.
Yeah, that's definite.
So who's second and third?
I would say the gap between Cleveland and Pittsburgh for 3rd and 4th will be greater than the gap between Cincinnati and Baltimore. In other words, I think Baltimore has enough talent to compete with Cincinnati and might challenge them, but I'm not sure that Cleveland has the kind of talent to even compete with Pittsburgh.
Okay, so Andy's going to have 3 Pittsburgh.
I've got Cleveland. I've got Cleveland. I've got Cincy. Yeah.
Jim?
I would have to echo what Andy just said.
Okay, so that means both of you guys are going to go Cincy 1, Baltimore 2, Pittsburgh 3, and Cleveland 4.
Yeah,
correct.
And
I could see it being close between Baltimore and Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I agree, and that's why I'm doing Pittsburgh 2, Baltimore 3. Okay, so there you go. That's the AFC North. And so what do you guys? We can do an NFC next week, and we can do any division we want, since the NFC opponent for the AFC is for the AFC North is the South, and we did that last week. So which division do you guys want to do next week in the NFC? NFC. You want to do the East, the North, or the West?
Well, let's do the West, because that's a really interesting division with 3 Super Bowl teams in there. Probably the most interesting and probably the best division, even when you throw Arizona down at the bottom.
Okay.
West it is. We'll do NFC West.
Here's one for you. Everybody's going to laugh at me. The Knicks in a sweep over the Spurs.
Oh,
what's the odds on that right now?
I don't know. Andy has to tell me.
Yeah, I don't have the odds for a sweep. No, I don't think I picked it up today. But
it's probably got to be a decent number.
Well, you could roll it over. You could figure it out.
Yeah.
What's the money
Okay.
line tonight? On the
Well, let
game?
me see.
Because
Tonight, the money
they're
line.
going to be favored in New York.
Oh, yeah. Game 3 and
It's got to be. What
Game
do you think?
4.
The same thing? 4 or 5?
Let me see. The line right now, I'm taking a look, is 6.5 in most
Ooh.
places. Total around 217. Spurs are favored by that. And the money line has the Spurs roughly minus 240 to take back on the Knicks, rightly at or slightly between 190 and 205 plus.
Yeah, I honestly think that the Knicks could sweep them. I'm not saying that I'm not saying anything disparaging about Wemby or the team. I love the Spurs. I think they're going to be a dominant force going forward.
Yeah.
The thing that bothers me about them is they're young, and Wemby is just not physical enough at this stage at 22 years old. He's not grown into his body to withstand the beating that these guys give him. And you've got to remember, these guys are, maybe they're not 7'5", so they're really short. 7'1", 7 foot, but they're also like 100 pounds heavier, and they're muscled up and they're 30 years old. And they're coming, and Wemby's coming off the 7-game series. And when was the last time the Knicks lost a game? Okay.
That was game 3 in the first round against Atlanta. Then they won the final 3, and then 4 plus 4 plus 1.
I am not saying in any
and
way.
they've covered in all of, and they are what I say there.
And they're double-digit winners in every game.
Yeah, they are 13-2 straight up. I believe it's 12-3 against the spread in those games. I don't know if I'm doing anything tonight. I know the other game 1. I think we talked about it on Tuesday, Jim. Well, I wanted to wait for an in-game situation to play the Knicks. I was figuring again that the Knicks would probably be a little bit tired after all the rest, and the Spurs were coming off, just a couple of days rest after that grueling 7-game series. So I was going to wait to see what would happen in the game 1. Would the Knicks be sort of rusty early? They actually had an early lead, but they got to the point where they were down by 5 or 6 points with about 4 or 5 minutes to go in the first quarter, and I got the Knicks plus 7.5, and that's exactly what I was waiting for. Did I expect them to win the game? No. Did I expect them to cover? I thought they had a real good chance, because if the Spurs were fatigued from OKC, it would show up in the fourth quarter. Now keep in mind that game was tied. Actually, Spurs. I think it was 95-94. Spurs, and then the Knicks scored 11 straight in the final 2+ minutes to win. So that was anybody's game with 2 to 3 minutes remaining. My concern is that this is a situation that San Antonio has played extremely well all season, coming off a loss. So, especially one where Wemby didn't play all that well, as was the case the other night. So, to me, and it's not the zigzag thing, it's the situation is more than anything else. It's San Antonio's history this year of coming back strongly when they lose, and the and Wemby doesn't have the kind of game we're used to. He takes it personally. So the situation calls for the Spurs tonight. But how can you go against the Knicks right now plus 6.5 points, considering what they've done over the last month? So I have to sit this one out. Maybe find something to do with the total.
I think there's a coaching edge with Brown.
He's done a tremendous job. He has justified the decision to get rid of Thibodeau, which surprised me.
Harper is a pretty damn good player. He only played 3 minutes in the fourth quarter. I'd like to know why the Spurs had him on the bench instead of in the game, because he's an absolutely fabulous player.
Well, especially when the game was late, when it was tied in fourth. Remember, Spurs had like a double-digit lead in the second half.
They
had a
14-point lead in the third quarter.
Yeah.
Well,
but the game still came down to a tie game with 2 minutes to go.
I sent you this information the other day.
Got to remember too, the Knicks had the rust element. If there's a rust element with the Knicks, it was there, but it didn't show up very much. The Knicks are right now overall, top to bottom, bench and everything included with the coach. The Knicks are the better team.
Yeah,
simple. It's that simple. They're the better team.
The last 31 regulation games in the playoffs have all been decided by 5 or more points.
Yep.
So if that means you either take San Antonio or take the Knicks money line.
Yeah, I could see that the way the Knicks have been playing.
I mean, a lot of times I'll take the point spread and I'll take a little bit on the money line anyway. I mean, because I do, especially in short numbers like this. But I'm going to tell you something. There is no way, unless the Knicks come out flat, and I haven't seen them come out flat at all in any. I mean, they haven't lost a game in like 3 months.
The only game they came out flat was that first game against Cleveland when they were coming off of that long rest after Philadelphia.
22.
Yes, and came back to win, and they did so for exactly. I thought the Knicks would be tired in the first quarter because of rust, and they were outscored, I think, 23-16. And I said they'd get their legs back by the fourth quarter when the every other night would get to Cleveland, and that's exactly what happened. I think they outscored them 32-18, and more importantly, in the overtime, the Knicks outscored Cleveland 14-3, and won that game.
Right.
And Brunson is probably the most disrespected player in the league because he's short. And that's
I don't think he's being disrespected anymore.
Absolutely ridiculous. The man is absolutely a fabulous player.
Link in the description of this video. You can pick up the 2026 Playbook Football Preview Guide magazine. Mark Lawrence is working hard, and that's the reason why I am hosting this show. This is normally the Friday spot for ProLine TV.
Has he told you an expected date of publication? It's usually around July 4th or July 10th that it hits the newsstands and Barnes & Noble and Amazon. Yeah.
Well, it says
I don't know if he
here,
told you anything on that.
It says available 2026 7, I guess 15. Does it say there? Right here? Is that 7/15?
Yes.
Yeah, that would be
July 15th.
Yeah.
So again, you can pick that up. Links in the description to this video. Links also in the description. The draft review guide from our lads is going to be coming out in a few days, so you can check that out as well. And then keep in mind, next week, again, we're going to do the NFC West on Friday. In the meanwhile, I will be doing, right now we only have one NFL interview scheduled for next week. That's with the Chicago Bears. Cole Noble from ABC Sports.
The Hammond Bears.
Yeah,
or whatever I said.
Yeah. Probably. And then next week as well, looks like we've got more college football. We've got the Florida Gators and Penn State on Monday, and Colorado State on Wednesday. So that's coming up.
Colorado State, are they one of the new Pac-12 members, aren't they?
Yes.
Andy,
Pac-12 is basically Mountain West. Yeah, Jim.
Andy, I got to ask you a question. What kind of action are you seeing on college baseball? Because I'm a lot of the players I know are betting.
Well, we can close the show and you guys can talk about it. It's still a football show, so
I know. But we're talking about maybe next.
Nobody
year.
cares about college baseball. So on a football show.
With the ad, well, I will say something because it applies to all sports. With VSiN, the network based here in Vegas Sports and Information Network, now that they carry like 20 hours of live programming every day, they cover all the sports. They were covering all the upsets in the French Open. They cover the golf every week. So, and that's available. I think it's free to listen to it.
What do you mean by that, Andy?
VSiN.
No, what do you mean by they cover?
They go over, they review, they handicap.
Oh, okay.
From a betting standpoint, so it's a betting oriented enterprise. That's the one that Brent Musburger was initially. Somewhat involved, but he's like the face of the network. They broadcast live out of Circa downtown.
Are they at the? They still go to Omaha for the World Series?
They did last year.
Yeah, I don't know that they do that anymore. I'm not sure. I don't follow it as closely as a lot of. Once Arkansas got eliminated, I stopped following it.
They did last year, Andy. Yeah. I know the owner did. Greg.
Where are they now? What is it now?
You mean the Circa guys? Yeah.
Yeah.
These are the super regionals.
Super regionals,
which I think determine I think it's 16 teams if I recall, and they determine the 8 who go to Omaha.
So we're what?
Or wherever the final.
So we're still a few weeks away from the World Series.
Couple of weeks, yeah. Maybe about 10 days.
And are there any dominant teams?
Well, West Virginia won yesterday.
Yeah, West Virginia was good. UCLA
They're
got
one of the top teams.
They were the overall number 1 seed.
Wow, West Virginia. I don't normally hear West Virginia as a dominant college baseball team. They must have a really good team here.
They're one of them.
Yeah, see, I don't. I'm like Jim. I do not really follow it, but again, with something like VEASAN, there's more and more exposure all the time. People are looking for more things. You can bet these. Take a look at some of the props on FanDuel and DraftKings, which are basically the two non-Nevada, dominant players on the internet, and they offer anything that you want to bet on. They're like, and now you got Kalshi involved, and what is it, Polymarket? And,
That's why kids like Brendan Swordsby get in trouble.
Yeah.
There's too much available.
Apparently.
Yeah. It's that's why, I guess in the old days we used to say things were slow after football season. And now it's never slow. Well,
like most people, like most of us, you learn through experience, and the experience is not always that good at the beginning, but that's what makes you learn. And it's like evolving in life in almost every area.
You better
learn
love
early,
it too.
You profit later. Yeah.
Yeah, you better love it, and you better enjoy some of it.
By the time you get really good at life, Andy, then you're gone.
Yeah. And you finally have it figured out.
Yeah, exactly.
And unfortunately, there's no way to really pass that on.
Not really. No. You can do all the podcasts and videos you want.
Well, with Ted Williams and the cryogenics, maybe in another 50 years, they can, they can thaw him out and discover his secret to hitting. If they can find the rest of the body to attach the head to.
All right, guys, we'll talk NFC West next Friday. Jim Feist and Andy Iskoe, and they'll be back on Tuesday on Proline TV.
Hope to have my camera working by then.
That'll be on Tuesday at 1 Eastern. And I'm assuming you guys are going to talk a lot about the NBA playoffs.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure whatever's going on, we're going to talk about it.
All right. College baseball, NBA playoffs, whatever's happening.
And if you listen to Jim, the Knicks will be looking for a sweep on Wednesday, I believe it'll be.
Well, I know it's a great price. It's a long shot. Yeah. And I know but I'm telling you, the team hasn't lost in 3 months or whatever. No. And
at least, well, let me put it this way. They've played 53 games since January 21st, the Knicks. I think this maybe now the other one. Now it's 54 games. They are 41, and I believe it's 13 straight up, 35 and 19 against the spread, and that's over. There's that's actually now January, February, March. That's 4.5 months.
Now here's one. This is the people can listen to this. I'm saying the Knicks in a sweep, which is a great price right now. But if they win this game tonight, they actually could be favored to win the sweep when they go to New York.
No. And there will be a special fan in game 1 and game 3 in New York.
Yeah, and I know Paul.
It's not going to be me. It's going to be the president.
But my friend Paul and your friend Paul will be there.
Yeah. Yes. Actually, it could be 2 Pauls, right? It could be Paul B. and Chipper.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any prices on my sports book for. I'm surprised I don't see that here. I don't know why they don't have it. Because the series, all they're giving me is series. Well, wait a second, I can go in here. Let me see if they've got something in here. What do you think it would be under? Just specials or something, or
probably
special props.
I can't put it on the screen because then they'll remove our advertising from this.
All right, let me see if I can find it here.
Game 2, score up to 3. NBA here it is. Series exact outcome.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. I've got to find, where is it?
I'm showing Knicks in 4 plus 805.
Woo!
So 8 to 1?
Circa too. Yeah, 8 to 1.
8 to 1. I think it should be higher than that.
If you happen to like the Spurs to win the next 4, you can get plus 75 for the Spurs to win in 5.
Huh. I don't know whether showing
not that
all
I
this...
would recommend it, but it's out there. I mean, I had the same thought with the Golden Knights. Remember the Golden Knights in that first season when they made the Stanley Cup Finals and they beat Washington in Game 1 and then lost 4 straight.
They should have won last night.
Should have won last night. Yeah, that was a bad decision on that no goal.
Well, the problem is you can't just don't go to overtime with Carolina. That's all. Just take them out and overtime.
I think Golden Knights had been perfect in overtime this playoff season until last night.
What was it?
What
was it the coach did wrong, Andy?
They're criticizing him. I think, for challenging the no goal when with the goalie was covering it up, but it wasn't totally secure or something like that. He came out today and said that he would make that challenge because it cost him a delay of game penalty when the challenge was unsuccessful.
What time was that at the game?
It was earlier middle third period, I believe.
What was the score?
I believe it was. I think it was 2-2 at the time, and I think that would have given the Knights a 3-2 lead. And Tortorella said this morning, and I applaud him for it, whether I agree with him or not, although I agree with him, he said, I would make that challenge 10 out of 10 times, especially because they were up 2-0, and now we're...
What do you mean I would make that challenge?
He challenged the call of a no goal. He thought the goal should have counted. It was the Knights who seemingly scored, but the officials reviewed it and said that it was goalie interference.
And he did challenge, or he didn't?
He did challenge the no goal because he did
challenge, and they said he was wrong.
He was wrong, that it was indeed a no goal. They ruled that it was not a goal. I think the folks in New York looked at it.
And then they got a power play.
Yeah, and I believe they scored on that power play. But Tortorella said today he would make that challenge 10 out of 10 times.
Hey, if you believe in it, especially if it's the way you do, I mean, you got to be true to yourself. That's all.
Yeah.
He's a good coach. He's done a remarkable thing with.
He's had success just about everywhere he's been.
I'm sure they'll be fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's going to wrap it up. Again, you can catch these guys on Tuesday at Proline TV. They'll talk more hockey, NBA, and more.
Baseball,
baseball too. Yeah. And that'll be it for the Orleans.
By the way,
Network.
we did not mention any baseball today, but I think it is worth pointing out to Christopher Sanchez, who ended, I believe, his streak at about 50 2/3 scoreless innings, dating back over a month. That's the fifth. It's the most ever by a left-hander, and the fifth most all-time. And had he been able to continue the streak through his last start, which I think was Wednesday, I think he finally gave up a run in the top of the seventh at the Padres. If he had been able to either exit the game before that or continue it, he would have been in his next start in a position to break the all-time record set by Orel Hershiser almost 40 years ago.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
1988.
Hell of a pitcher.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway,
so take a look, by the way, at your Cy Young prices. He might be worth a play. I would imagine he might very well be the National League favorite right now, but that kind of effort is worth rewarding.
Ohtani's going to get a lot of votes.
You see, Bowtie Sports says you guys need a show producer. So my response to that is, I'm the producer, but they don't listen to me. So whoever the producer is, he wouldn't have it any other way, any other easier.
Well, we did listen to you because we were originally scheduled to do, I think.
We should have been out of here 20 minutes ago if you were going to listen to me.
Yeah, but see,
anyway, this is bonus content.
Here's the thing: is we provide content for people who like to follow sports, and also very much so people who like to bet sports. And
we are passionate about betting. We are passionate about sports in general.
I've made a living betting sports for 6 decades, and
a good living.
Yeah, I've done okay.
So,
and Bowtie, I hope to make you some money too.
Yep.
And I will actually talk some NASCAR and Proline TV on tomorrow. That'll be Saturday night after qualifying and practice. So you can check that out. Otherwise, Proline TV is back in action next week on Tuesday at 1 Eastern with the Jim Feist Handicapping Show. And the Orleans Football Network returns on Monday at 4 o'clock. And we'll do it all over again. So, guys, appreciate it. I'll see you next Friday. See ya.
Sounds good.